Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haitham sends a cable of greetings to the President of Tanzania on his country's National Day. The Euromoney magazine ranks the Sultanate among the lowest in the Middle East in the list of political and economic risks. And the Ministry of Health announces 115 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 and recoveries of 4 cases. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sends a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Dr. John Magufuli of Tanzania on the occasion of his country's National Day. The Euromoney magazine globally ranked the Sultanate among the lowest countries in the Middle East in the list of political and economic risks, despite the repercussion of the corona pandemic and the fluctuations in oil prices. The Euromoney put the Sultanate in the 47th place globally in the list of least risk countries, while Switzerland topped the global index, followed by Sweden, then the Netherlands, and then Germany after the results of the first quarter survey for the year 2020, which was based on 15 indicators of political, economic, structural risks such as political stability, anti-corruption, policy making and structural performance of 74 countries. The Ministry of Health announced 115 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, which brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 1,905, including 10 deaths. The Ministry of Health stressed that 329 cases have been recovered.
Within the efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19, the ministry advises all citizens and residents to keep on washing hands with water and soap. Avoid touching the face, nose, mouth and eyes. Follow hygienic habits when coughing and sneezing. Adhere strictly to social distancing instructions. Stay at home and not to go out unless absolutely necessary. Adhering to isolation and social distancing will prevent you, your family, and the community from COVID-19. Stay safe.
Non-compliance with the directives of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus COVID-19 exposes you to risk and legal action. Stay safe.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Britain is to start trials to see whether plasma collected from donors who have recovered from COVID-19 could be an effective treatment for patients who are severely unwell with the disease. Up to 5,000 severely ill patients with COVID-19 could soon be treated each week with plasma as part of the new approach to treating the virus. Plasma from recovered COVID-19 patients can be transfused to patients who are struggling to produce their own antibodies against the virus. So-called convalescent plasma was used as an effective treatment during the 2002 to 2004 SARS outbreak. The collection of plasma would be ramped up over April and May to deliver up to 10,000 units of plasma to the National Health Service every week, enough to treat 5,000 COVID-19 patients per week. Blood is taken from one arm and circulated through a machine that separates out the plasma and then returned to the donor. The process takes about 45 minutes and provides 2 units of plasma per donation, which can also be frozen and stored ahead for any future need. The new coronavirus has claimed at least 197,303 lives since its outbreak in China in December. More than 2.82 million cases were registered in 193 countries and territories. Of these cases, at least 766,300 are now considered recovered. The United States has the highest number of deaths, nearly 52,000 out of 905,333 cases. Italy is second in place with nearly 26,000 deaths out of 192,994 cases, followed by Spain, 22,902 deaths and 223,759 cases. France, 22,245 deaths and 159,828 cases, and Britain with 20,000 fatalities and more than 148,300 cases. Europe has a total of more than 121,000 deaths and more than 1.34 million cases. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization warns there is no evidence currently that people who have had the new coronavirus are immunized and protected against reinfection, raising doubts over the use of immune passports to allow some people at least to return to normal life. The United Nations launched an international push for vaccine, with the UN chief saying that the effort will require cooperation on a global scale and calling on international organizations, world leaders and the private sector to join the effort. IMF officials said current demand for new short-term liquidity line could reach $50 billion from several countries, saying the facility could help countries address liquidity needs before they morphed into bigger problems. The new instrument was approved by the IMF's executive board to help some of its members deal with widespread liquidity issues caused by the rapidly spreading COVID-19 pandemic, which has triggered a deep global recession. In Russia, the central bank said the economy will shrink by up to 6% this year. Back to some more local news. In the context of what was previously announced by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth to provide local markets with livestock, and based on continuous coordination and communication with national companies based on importing livestock, the Sultan Qaboos port today received 10,000 sheep from Sudan. Veterinary quarantine procedures were completed and examined to ensure their health and free from any pathogens before they're released. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth approved a number of marketing outlets to sell fish in the governorate of North Batna. The outlets will provide large quantity of various kinds of fish according to suitable environmental and hygienic conditions after the decision of the COVID-19 Supreme Committee to close fish markets in various governorates of the Sultanate. The COVID-19 Supreme Committee issued a number of decisions to stop gatherings, including markets and other public places, in order to contain the spread of this pandemic. Beside the approved fish market outlets, earlier Oman Technology Fund, in cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, launched the Bahar electronic platform, which will link the central wholesale fish markets in some wilayas to the electronic bidding. The platform is aimed to ensure that the fish is provided in the market away from the risk resulted from contacts and crowding as part of precautionary measures. The platform will serve the segment of merchants, fish marketing companies and institutions operating in the sector in various wilayas of the Sultanate. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haitham sends a cable of greetings to the President of Tanzania on his country's National Day. The Euromoney magazine ranks the Sultanate among the lowest in the Middle East in the list of political and economic risks. And the Ministry of Health announces 115 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 and recoveries of 4 cases. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.